You know, we hear a lot about the mind-body connection, right? But what if your social life was having a direct, measurable, and honestly pretty surprising impact on your heart? Today, we're digging into some new research that uncovers this hidden cardiovascular cost of social anxiety and loneliness. Okay, let's just start with a quick thought experiment. Picture a super stressful social situation. Maybe you're giving a big speech or you're at a party where you don't know anyone. Your heart starts pounding, your blood pressure shoots up, right? That's the classic fight or flight response we all know. But what if for some people, the complete opposite happens? Yeah, you'd think that social anxiety would automatically trigger this massive physical stress reaction. But the wild thing is, when scientists actually looked at the evidence, the results were all over the place. Some studies found that anxious people actually had a weaker cardiovascular response. Others found no clear link at all. This whole inconsistency has been a huge puzzle for researchers for a while now. So, to try and solve this puzzle, a new study brought a crucial third piece into the mix: loneliness. Researchers started to wonder, hey, maybe loneliness is the missing link here. Maybe that's what finally explains the confusing connection between social anxiety and how our bodies physically react to stress. The guy leading this study, Adam O'Riordan, is really driven by this one central question. How do things like our feelings, our anxiety, our loneliness, create real, tangible effects on our heart and our health? His work gets right to the core of what we're exploring today. So here's the three-step hypothesis they came up with. It's actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, a person has high social anxiety. Okay. Step 2, that anxiety makes them avoid social situations, which naturally leads to social isolation and feeling lonely. Then step 3, it's that loneliness, not the anxiety directly, that actually changes how the body's cardiovascular system responds to stress. It's like a chain reaction. It's a really compelling theory, right? But a theory is just a theory until you have the evidence. So did the data actually back it up? Let's take a look at what the researchers found when they put this idea to the test. And this right here is one of the most fascinating findings. On the left, you can see that people with high social anxiety said they felt way more stressed out during the study's tasks. Totally makes sense, no surprise there. But, and this is the big but, look at the right. Their actual physical blood pressure response had no direct link to how socially anxious they were. So how they felt and how their body reacted were telling two completely different stories. So if social anxiety wasn't the thing directly moving the needle, what was? Well, as this chart makes super clear, the key factor was loneliness. The study found that the people who reported feeling lonelier were the ones who showed a smaller, weaker spike in blood pressure during the stressful task. Loneliness was the variable that mattered, not social anxiety by itself. So here's the bottom line. Loneliness was basically acting as a bridge. In research terms, they call this a mediator. Think of it like this. Social anxiety doesn't directly cause the weird blood pressure thing. Instead, social anxiety leads to loneliness, and then loneliness influences the blood pressure response. It's not just A to B, it's an A to B to C pathway. Okay, so this brings us to the most counterintuitive twist in the tail part of this whole story. A weaker physical reaction to stress. I mean, that sounds like a good thing, doesn't it? A calm response seems healthy. But it turns out, this can actually be a pretty risky signal. I mean, really, think about it. If you're feeling stressed but your blood pressure isn't going through the roof, you'd probably pat yourself on the back, thinking your body is handling it like a champ. It just feels like a positive thing, right? Well, not so fast. Scientists have a very specific name for this weaker than normal reaction. They call it a blunted response. And it is definitely not the sign of a healthy, resilient system that you might think it is. So what exactly is a blunted stress response? It's basically when your body's key systems don't ramp up the way they're supposed to when faced with a challenge. And instead of signaling that you're calm and collected, it actually suggests that your body's entire stress regulation system is kind of out of whack. And this is why it's a real concern. A blunted response might mean a person is sort of disengaging from their environment. It's almost like their body can't be bothered to mount a proper defense. This points to that imbalance in the stress system, which researchers think could lead to some serious long-term health problems, like a higher risk for things like hypertension down the road. All right, so let's tie all of this together. What's the final verdict? What should we really take away from this incredible connection between our social lives and our cardiovascular health?
The study's author, Adam Oridan, really sums it up perfectly here. The avoidance that comes from social anxiety creates loneliness. And it's that loneliness that appears to be reshaping our body's most fundamental response to stress. It's just a powerful reminder of how deeply connected our psychological and our physical worlds really are.
Now, we have to be good scientists here and point out the study's limitations. Because it was observational, it can't prove that loneliness causes this response, just that the two are strongly linked. Also, this study looked at the general population. The effects could be even stronger in people with a clinical social anxiety disorder. And finally, this was just one snapshot in time. We don't know for sure if this response stays consistent over a person's entire life. So, if you remember anything from this explainer, let it be these key points. 1. Social anxiety can lead to deep feelings of loneliness. 2. That loneliness is connected to this blunted or weakened cardiovascular response to stress. 3. This blunted response, far from being a good thing, is a potential red flag for future health problems. And 4, it all just proves that the mind-body connection is incredibly complex and unbelievably powerful. And that just leaves us with this one last really big thought to chew on. If loneliness can quietly reshape something as fundamental as how our heart responds to stress, what other invisible conversations are happening between our feelings and our bodies every single day? It's a powerful question. Thanks for watching.